What's up, everyone? Welcome to This Day in Philly Sports History for October 19th, 2024. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Saturday edition of the podcast. Let's jump into a few housekeeping notes before we get started. Be sure to follow me on social media, Jimbo_Mont on Twitter and TikTok, at Philly Jimbo on Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Continue to spread the word. We're growing this thing. I do not understand how any of the algorithms work because there are some days where we're showing up everywhere, other days where we're not. So just continue to spread the word. Like, subscribe, comment, all that other good stuff. And that will, I guess, help out the algorithm. But it's a complicated, some days it's ridiculous. Some days it's ridiculous in the other way. If you need information on the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame, information is in the description, including bios of the inductees for this class, ticket information, all the stuff you need for the November 7th induction ceremony down at Live Casino in South Philly. Check out my boys at the Clash and Conferences podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts as well as on YouTube. Good episode for football this week going into this big Eagles-Giants matchup. More on that in a minute. And then go to Philly Goat, get your Eagles gear, Sixers gear, Flyers gear, all getting ready to kick off. Be sure to use that promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. That's phillygoat.com, promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off. All right, speaking of the Eagles, injury news. Slay was listed as questionable. Not sure what's going to happen with him. Might be the young guys, and they're really going to get a test, which is fine. I like what I've been seeing out of them. Keely Ringo had just a monster hit. Quignon's been playing well. Cooper's been playing well. So it's not ideal for him to be out, but I would be okay if he had to miss. But my thought process is he'll end up playing. They did place Jordan Mailata on IR. Means he's going to miss at least the next 4 weeks. Good news. Jalen Carter was not on the injury report, which is good. Going to need a big game out of him. And even better news, Sidney Brown looks like he's going to be available to play. How much playing time he gets and where he plays is still to be determined. But I'm excited for him. I thought he was playing decent last year before he blew out his ACL. So that's a huge, huge boost to the secondary. Jersey combos. Black pants, white jerseys. I like it. I wish they were wearing the black helmets, though, but that's all right. I don't know why I really like the white jersey on the black pants. I wish, like I said, I'm glad this is the second time now they're wearing them. Hopefully that'll spark the offense like how they did down in Brazil as well. Tomorrow we'll break down the game, 3 keys, and then give our prediction and our bet. Hopefully we fare better than we did last week. But let's recap yesterday's question of the day. I asked you, are you in or are you out on the Sixers? This was kind of surprising. It was 50-50. I expected more people to be out after the comments I received the other day. Still, nobody gave me a good explanation on why they are so down on the Sixers and they appear to be held to a different standard than what the other teams are. I don't know. I just think they're so fed up with the process and everything like that. But I don't know. This is still, to me, the best team that they've had, top to bottom. It all comes down if they stay healthy. A little bit of a scare last night. Tyrese with a thumb contusion left the game. I think they held him out just as a precautionary measure. They finished up the preseason with a loss, but who cares? It's you don't want to lose him either. I mean, that's Joe didn't play, Paul George with the hyperextension, and now Maxey, McCain with the concussion. Let's just rest up and get healthy for Wednesday night at home against Milwaukee. Let's continue our preview today and take a look at the bench. I mean, this is where this team is going to be different than what they have been. I mean, Kyle Lowry, Andre Drummond, Eric Gordon, Gershon Yabusele, Reggie Jackson, McCain, and Bona, and then you have KJ Martin. And if we really break it down, KJ Martin really is only on this team to be a trade chip at the trade deadline. He's like one of the few guys that are making underneath the thing, so he'll be key for any salary matchups they have. And he's a solid player. He should contribute in the rotation when he gets a shot. I mean, anything then you get out of Jarrett McCain and Adem Bona is gravy, bonus money. I like both of them a lot. I think they're going to be contributors as the season goes on. But they're rookies, so anything you're able to get out of them is a bonus. And Andre Drummond, we finally have a legitimate backup center for the first time since Andre Drummond. He never wanted to leave. I don't think any of us wanted him to leave. The fact that he's back provides some of that veteran leadership. He can give you some minutes when Joe's not playing. And obviously it's a drop-off when Joe's not playing. But he is an NBA quality backup that can certainly fill in and allow you to not have what we've had with like Joe's out. It's just like, it's been bad. So I was very excited for that. I think it might end up being one of the more underrated pickups of the offseason. I like Eric Gordon. Gives you a 3-and-D guy off the bench. Reggie Jackson has won a championship. He's a vet. He can shoot. That's something they've lacked off the bench since why can't I think of his name? He's the coach of the Lakers now. He went to Duke. JJ Redick. They haven't had a guy that can come off the bench and shoot since him, so I think that's good. I mean, I guess you could look at Seth Curry for a little bit, but he ended up starting. And obviously Kyle Lowry, Philly guy, veteran, knows Nick Nurse's system, provide that calming influence. I don't expect to see him play a ton of minutes. And if he is playing a ton of minutes, I think we're in trouble. But I think give Maxey a break and just really the leadership that he brings and the fact that he is very familiar with Nick Nurse's system and is able to – he won a championship with him. And we saw that in the playoffs, how he was more of a like I think he ended up having to play too much in the playoffs, and that was a problem. But I love him being back. And then Yabusele is the unknown. I think if he plays the way he did in the Olympics, that's going to be a huge pickup and a huge asset for them to have. He's athletic. Can run the floor, and especially if Nick Nurse, the way he's talking, he wants to push the tempo, he's a good guy to have. And I mean, ultimately to me, this bench, this is why I'm so high. I think they have the best starting lineup they've had in a while, but this is the deepest bench they've had. Obviously, there's going to be injuries and things that pop up, but I think they have a very complete team, a very complete roster, and the fact that yes, the bench guys, they're on the bench for a reason. However, they have guys that can play, so they're going to be resting Paul George and Embiid a lot. So having these guys being able to plug in and play and actually not have guys that should be in the D-League is huge for this team. So I am, like I said, I've been saying it. I'm probably setting myself up like I always do with this team, but I am very bullish on the Sixers this year. I think it all comes down, we'll talk more on that tomorrow, but it all comes down to their health. But this is a solid team and something that we haven't had for 5, 6, 7 years, where we have a team that is deep and you got guys that come off the bench to do their own specialty things. You have some guys that are looking to make an impact, some hungry guys. So I'm all for it. That is the Sixers bench. I think that is going to be a huge asset that we have not had, especially come playoff time, because you got guys that on this bench that even in the starting lineup that excel in the playoffs. So this team is built to get through the regular season and get to the playoffs. And then you just got to make it out of the second round. But let's worry about that when we get there. Let's hope that we can get these guys healthy. Joe, PG, Tyrese. I think it's just a little thumb bruise. I think he'll be fine. But my heart stopped when I read that he left the game. All right, the Union are back in action for their season finale today down at Subaru Park, taking on Cincinnati. They have a shot for the playoffs. It's a convoluted way. I think the most, obviously, first and foremost, they have to win. If they don't win, they're out. But then Montreal and DC both need to lose as well. There's some other variables and options. I believe all the games are around the same time, too. So it should be one of those. I don't know if they're on TV or not, but I will definitely be keeping an eye on the Union tonight as they look to make the playoffs. And I mean, who knows? Once they get in the playoffs, they can get hot. I mean, we saw recently they've been playing halfway decent, so maybe a couple days off, or actually it's been like a week or so. That'll give them time to get healthy, but they need a lot of help. I've seen crazier things happen in the NFL, so buckle up. It's going to be an interesting night for the Union. But most importantly, the Flyers open up their home schedule tonight against Vancouver. Michkov Mania is going to be running wild down at the Wells Fargo Center. This will be on my TV. I will be watching this. I'm so excited to see this dude play live. Like, it's been way past my bedtime out on the West Coast. Hopefully the home crowd, they can get it rolling tonight. But that is tonight at 7 down at the Wells Fargo Center for the Flyers and the Canucks. That leads to the question of the day, though. I definitely will be watching. Will you? Will you watch the Flyers game tonight? That is the question of the day. 267-495-8531. That'll get you in. We don't have the Phillies to worry about, so they wouldn't have been playing tonight anyway. It would have been a travel day for the NLCS. But are you going to watch the Flyers? 267-495-8531. That'll get you into the Back to the Future voice and text line. Get anything else Philly sports related off your chest. Had some Mets fans chirping on the voice line yesterday and trying to put the reverse juju, and it appeared to work as they blew out the Dodgers yesterday. So they're still alive, and I just see the writing on the wall. I feel like they're going to go out to LA, win 2 games, just like the Diamondbacks did in Philly last year. And we're going to have a stinking Subway World Series, which I will not be watching. But let me know, are you watching the Flyers game tonight? And then let me know your thoughts on the Eagles, Sixers, whatever. 267-495-8531. That'll get you in. Sticking with the Flyers today, we're going to go back to 1967. And on this day, back in 1967, Flyers won 1-0 over the Penguins in their first ever meeting. We talked yesterday about the expansion. It also was their first ever home win and the first ever regular season hockey game at the old Philadelphia Spectrum. I miss the Spectrum. I like the Wells Fargo Center. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to like the new Sixers. I forget what they're even calling it now, but I'm going to love that. But I miss the Spectrum. It was one of those nostalgic things, and it opened in 1967. The first ever event was the Quaker City Jazz Festival. The first ever sporting event was Joe Frazier versus Tony Doyle. Joe Frazier knocked him out in the second round. But it did host 4 NBA Finals, 6 Stanley Cups, 2 NBA and NHL All-Star games, 2 Final Fours. Ironically enough, I thought this was crazy. Both Final Fours that the Spectrum hosted, Indiana won. Bobby Knight, 76 and 81. Also was the site of Christian Laettner's shot. Sorry, Kyle, if you're out there listening today. Many Atlantic 10 tournaments. I remember when I was working in high school, when I knew I was going to Temple, that one of the guys at my bosses would always get tickets through one of his reps and vendors, so he would give me like the all-day passes. And I remember just going down there. Temple always played a lot of times in the evening, but I remember going in high school and even into college when we were there, just staying all day and watching Atlantic 10 basketball. Back when the Atlantic 10 was good, when you had UMass, who was a national powerhouse, Temple, who was a national powerhouse, Lamar Odom was back at Rhode Island, LaSalle was solid, St. Joe's. Like, it was just fun basketball, and I miss those days. As we're approaching the start of college basketball season, Temple might be good this year. I don't know, but I miss those days when we would go down and just spend all day, go out, grab some a dinner or lunch, whatever you want to call it, in between sessions, and then come back and watch the 2 night games. Lots of fun down there at the Spectrum. Lots of Big 5 games happened at the Spectrum, and then concerts. It was actually a pretty cool concert place. Unfortunately, I never did get to see a concert there, but Elvis was there, The Doors, The Grateful Dead, Elton John, Madonna, Bruce Springsteen, Guns N' Roses, Cyndi Lauper, you name it. Pretty much that was the concert venue to see concerts in Philly at the time. Obviously, Disney on Ice, wrestling matches, all kinds of craziness. But perhaps the 2 most important events that ever happened at the Philadelphia Spectrum, Balboa Creed 1 and 2, both of those fights from Rocky took place at the Spectrum. Remember, Rocky was in the hospital and got a quick ride down to the second fight. Why Apollo agreed to fight him in Philly for the second fight, I'll never know. That was just a bad move on Apollo's part, but having a little bit of fun reminiscing about the Spectrum. But Balboa Creed 1 and 2, both were at the Spectrum as well. But on this day in 1967, the Flyers beat the Penguins 1-0 in the first ever regular season hockey game at the Spectrum. First ever meeting between the Flyers and Penguins. Really kicked off that rivalry. Still one of those teams that are low-key high on the I hate this team list. But that all happened on 1967 in the Spectrum. What a cool little place. Like I said, the Wells Fargo Center is all well and good, but there was just something different about the Spectrum. And maybe just because I spending all those days there for the Atlantic 10 Conference tournament, whatever. But Philadelphia Spectrum, a little bit of a trip down Philly sports memory lane today, just like we used to do in the old school. All right, Flyers Canucks tonight, Union Cincinnati. We're geared up for the big Eagles-Giants game. I'm starting to feel a little bit more calm about this as we're getting closer to game day. I'll break down the keys tomorrow, give you our prediction. But it's all about the Flyers. Are you watching the Flyers tonight? 267-495-8531. I will have it. It's supposed to be a beautiful night. I might pull the heater out on the back porch, have some family coming over, and watch the Flyers while the kids are all partying it up for Ella's birthday. But this has been This Day in Philly Sports History for October 19th, 2024. My name is Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Saturday, and until next time, I'll see you when I see you.